Okay, so this here is a product rule, and it's a method of differentiation of a function which has u times v. So what this is saying is that f prime of x, which is the notation for the first derivative, is u times dv plus v times du. So dv is the derivative of v, and du is the derivative of u. And we'll do some examples, but this is just the notation, or I guess the formula for the product rule. Alright, so let's find the derivative of this function, which is 3x minus 2x squared times 4 plus 5x. Okay, so let's establish our u and v. So we have u, which equals 3x minus 2x squared, and v, which equals 4 plus 5x. So now let's find du and dv. Du is just the derivative of u, and the derivative of u, we can just use power rule for this. The derivative of 3x is just 3, and the derivative of negative 2x squared is just negative 4x. And the derivative of v, we can also use a power rule. The derivative of 4, which is a constant, is 0, so we don't have to say anything. And then the derivative of 5x is just 5, so you can erase this and just say 5. Now let's plug it into that formula, which is just u dv plus v du. So u is 3x minus 2x squared times dv, which is just 5, plus 4 plus 5x times du, which is 3 minus 4x. Now, technically you can just keep this as the answer, but since we can simplify a lot more, we'll just do that. So 15x minus 10x squared plus 12 minus 16x plus 15x minus 20x squared. And now if we simplify this entire thing, we'll get negative 30x squared plus, or minus x, plus 15x, and we have 12, plus 12. So when we simplify this, this will just come down to, this will just become plus 14x, and this equals f prime of x, which is just the derivative. Okay, number 2, we have 3 plus 2 root x times 5x to the 3 minus 7. So let's have u and v again. So u equals 3 plus 2 root x, and v equals 5x to the 3 minus 7. So the derivative of u is just 2. So the derivative of 2 root x, we can just say this is 2x to the 1 over 2. And if we do the power rule, this is just going to equal x to the negative 1 over 2, or 1 over root x. And now dv is equal to 15x squared, and negative 7 is a constant, and the derivative of a constant is just 0. So now we have u, 3 plus 2 root x, du, which is 1 over square root x, and v, which is 5x to the 3 minus 7, and dv, which is 15x squared. So let's multiply them. So u times dv is just 3 plus 2 root x times 15x squared plus 5x to the 3 minus 7 times du, which is 1 over square root x. So technically we can simplify, but it's not going to simplify by much because of all the radicals and negative exponents. So we can just leave our answer as this. F prime of x equals 3 plus 2x times 15x squared plus 5x to the 3 minus 7 times 1 over root x. Okay, so number 3 we have f of x equals 5x minus x to the 3 times 8 plus x squared. And they're also asking us to find f prime of 1. So first, we have u equals 5x minus x to the 3. V equals 8 plus x squared. And we also have du, which is equal to the derivative of 5x is just 5, and the derivative of negative x cubed is just negative 3x squared. And the derivative of dv is, the derivative of 8 is 0, and the derivative of x squared is just 2x. So now, let's do the product rule, which is 5x minus x cubed times 2x plus 8 plus x squared times 5 minus 3x squared. And technically this is just our derivative function. The first derivative of f of x. And now let's just find f prime of 1. So the only thing we need to do is plug in 1 into this function because this is the derivative. So f prime of 1 equals 5 times 1 minus 1 cubed times 2 times 1 plus 8 plus 1 squared times 5 minus 3 times 1 squared. And now let's just simplify everything. So we have 5 times 1, which is 5, minus 1 is 4. 4 times 2, and then we have 8 plus 1 is 9. And then 9 times 5 minus 3 is 2. So we have 8 plus 18. And this is just going to equal 26. So f prime of 1 is equal to 26. Okay, so question 4, we have f of x equals 2x squared plus x times 4 minus x cubed. And they ask us to find f of 1 and f prime of 1. So u equals 2x squared plus x. V equals 4 minus x cubed. And now du equals 2x squared becomes 4x, and x just becomes 1. And dv becomes, so 4 becomes 0, negative x squared becomes negative 3x squared. Okay, now let's plug it into the formula. So 2x squared plus x times negative 3x squared plus 4 minus x cubed times 4x plus 1. And this equals f prime of x. So now, let's just find f of 1 and f prime of 1. So f prime of 1 equals, if we just plug 1 into this, we'll get 2 plus 1 times negative 3 plus 4 minus 1 times 5. And now, if we just evaluate this, we should just get 3 times negative 3 plus 3 times 5, which is 15. So this is going to equal negative 9 plus 15, which just equals 6. And now, let's do it here. So this is f prime of 1, and f of 1, we have 2 plus 1 times 4 minus 1, and this is just going to equal 3 times 3, which equals 9. And there's our final answers. F prime of 1 equals 6, f of 1 equals 9. And also, one thing to note, f prime of 1 equals 6. This means that when x equals 6 in f of x, the slope is 6. That's what derivative means. Derivative is the slope. So at f prime of 1, the slope of the tangent line is 6.